boys and girls. It's your old pal Stevie Coyle. Ideally, sitting down and saying, hey, from Mighty Fine Guitars, sorry about the noise, in Lafayette, California. Check and make sure I'm not talking to nobody. It's a bad sign for a gentleman of a certain age. Hey, looks like we're live. How about that? Yeah. Things are happening. Hello there. Once again, now that I know you're there, your old pal Stevie Coyle, webbing in from Mighty Fine Guitars for the typical 90 Fruitime, Friday Noontime Webcast. Lafayette, California is 20 miles due east and only slightly north of San Francisco. And this is the shop. I'm at Mighty Fine Guitars, which I hope, fingers crossed, will be open for business. You can come in and play the guitars rather than meeting me out front to play guitars. Excuse me. And on Fridays, I typically do a little webcast just to show you what's new and exciting, what has come in the intervening week. And boy, oh boy, some good stuff has come in. It's kind of ridiculous. You know, that camera's a little far away. Maybe I'll see if I can get myself a little closer. That wide-angle lens really is wide-angle. Let me horn in here a little bit without pinching my fingers on this glider, okay, which is tricky. Yeah. You know, this thing is kind of cool. It was given to me by a student who said, you know, I'm not using this anymore, and we're moving, and I can't use it anymore. Could you use it? I said, sure, I can find a place for that. And the very next day, you know, and she said, it's a pick and glider. It's designed, you know, with no arms and nice and low, so you can sit on your lap with your legs being out straight. Really comfortable. It's called a pick and glider. I thought, okay, that's great, yeah. And the next day, two people came in and they said, the fella that came in first said, oh, you got a pick and glider. Cool, those are cool. They're perfect. They're designed for playing, you know. And then a woman came in later on and said, you dolts, that's a nursing chair. That was designed long ago for nursing, and somebody called it a picking glider, and it became guitaristic in that respect. So, I think that's going to be a slightly better picture. Sure thing. Do say hello if you're there, and if you don't mind revealing your identity, let me know where you're webbing in from. That's always of interest. Thank you very much. Nancy Paul, I'm going to do my Miss Nancy here. Speaking of Nancy's, I'm going to do Miss Nancy. And I see Nancy Paul from Michigan, and I see Lynn O'Brien, and where are you webbing in from? You, right there. Hey, Frank Vituski, excellent. One of these days, Frank Vituski is my brother from another mother, as the young people say. And one of these days, he and I are going to sit down and do some picking together in real time. Either, you know what, there's a little box nowadays. I'll just kind of blather here until more folks get in, and I'll show you these two super cool guitars that came in. Maybe Frank and I can get it together to play on these devices called JackTrip. Are you hip to JackTrip? There have been software programs that you can use to play ostensibly in real time on the internet. But this box, the JackTrip Virtual Studio Device, it's a little white box, and it works. I probably told you, I play music with the Hellman family, the people who put on Hardly Strictly Bluegrass, and I play with a couple of their bands. And we were rehearsing with one of them last night, and we had, was it 8 people on all together at the same time, on both a JackTrip session and a Zoom session, so we could see and hear each other in real time. I don't know how they do it. Demons? You make the call. But it works. So Frank Vituski, if you got a few bucks lying around and want to grab a JackTrip box at some point before you wend your way out here to the West Coast to play music, wonderful fingerstyle player, folks, and a fellow devotee of all those old blues guys, and Jorma Kaukonen, and all of the fingerstyle folks that gentlemen of a certain age and ladies of a certain age, of course, grew up with. Mary Flower is another one that is kind of in the same ballpark musically. Look forward to playing music with her sometime, or catching her when she comes on tour. When things loosen up, I got my first shot. I feel fine. There are no extra limbs sprouting anywhere. I'm not developing any strange phobias that I didn't have before. They did put us in a 15-minute timeout, which I thought was unnecessary because we had not done anything wrong. But we had to sit there for 15 minutes. And then they let us go. It was like being in detention. Well, here, hey there. Yes, Bruce Kaplan, yes, each person has to have one. That's the deal. And you connect your JackTrip box with Ethernet. Each person has to have Ethernet as well as Wi-Fi, so it gets a little bit involved. But you plug in your Ethernet to the white box, to the JackTrip box, and you run your laptop on Wi-Fi. And that, you're running the JackTrip website on the laptop or the desktop. And I'm not sure if you can use a device for that, if you can use like a Surface or an iPad. Don't know about that. But whatever happens, you need to have an Ethernet going into your white box, into your JackTrip box. And that is much faster processor. That reduces, as fast as your computer is, it's going to introduce a tremendous amount of latency into the signal. So if you've tried Jamulus, if you've tried Jamkazam, any of those things, they're using the processing power of your computer, which is vastly slower than what's going on in this JackTrip box. It's really, really fast, and you're coming out through Ethernet. It really, really works. Can't praise it highly enough. Wish I'd bought stock, put it that way. Hi, Lisa Taylor Buck. I hope I'm pronouncing that correct. Buck. Hey, John DeLapp, wonderful builder. John DeLapp is represented multiple times in here. Great builder. Kind of in the Martin style, but he does his own thing. He's got some Gibson-y stuff as well. We've got a Nick Lucas version of one of his guitars here. Great builder out of I call it the Bermuda Triangle. I'm not sure how it happens, but Sacramento, Davis, and Winters, there's all kinds of great builders up there. I don't know if it's, something that was sprayed on the crops in the area, something in the water table. Don't know. But he's one of them. John DeLapp. Look up his guitars. Great builder. And I followed your little travelogue with great interest and appreciation, John. Thank you for sharing all the pictures you took from your trip down the backside of the spine of California. Wonderful. Hey, Mike Campobello. You got your second shot done? Did it kick your ass? That's my question, because I understand the second shot, particularly the Moderna, I guess, can really kick your butt. We got the Pfizer, and we're doing fine. I didn't even have any soreness. I never seem to respond to flu shots of any kind in any way. Valerie had a little bit of soreness in her arm, but no biggie, and certainly no flu-like symptoms. We're setting aside the day or two after our second shots, the middle of April, to rest and recuperate, because we understand that can be the butt kicker. Very good. Yes, Frank Viteski, JackTrip. And you're looking not for the program called JackTrip. You're looking for the box called the JackTrip Virtual Studio Device. Right, the VSD. Little white box. If you order it off of Amazon, order a power supply as well. You'll need a USB-C power supply. And the connections on it are kind of weird. There are two RCA jacks that you would think would be input. They're not. They're output to your headphones. So you need a dongle, pardon me, ladies, to convert double RCA into a single headphone thing. You need that. And whatever you're going to plug into the JackTrip box has to come in on a 3.5 mil connector, an 1/8 inch connector. It all seems backwards from what's intuitive. So if you're coming out of a Scarlett box, out of a Focusrite box, or out of an Apogee or an Apollo, or out of your mixer, or straight out of your guitar, the signal's not going to be great unless you preamp it ahead of time. But that needs to go in on the 1/8 inch jack. And you need a plug for that. You need a 1/8 inch plug to hit that jack. And the two RCA plugs you need to convert into headphone. It's pretty weird. And then the thing gets power from USB-C, and you need to connect your Ethernet cable. And that's what I know about the JackTrip device. Setting up the stuff on the server side, easy as pie. If I can do it, you can do it. It did not take a lot of doing. So we'll get that all together and have more details for you soon. Hey, Michael McNevin. Michael McNevin, please, if you have a thing going on online here, like Michael McNevin does, he's doing shows and they're always enormously entertaining. He's a very entertaining gent. Great singer-songwriter, very personable, very humorous sort of fella. Tune him in. Mikey, post your lists of what's going on. Anybody else? Bruce Kaplan, you got Fridays at 5 and other stuff you're doing. Please post what you're doing when. This is the community bulletin board, this portion of the show. Mike Campobello, hey there. You skipped the 15 minutes. Man, the principal didn't come after you with a stick? We didn't think we probably ought to, because they were guys with like masks and stuff and clipboards there. Very intimidating. Hi, Tina P. Jackson. Good to see you yet again. Repeat offender. John Datlin, another great builder, also represented here in the shot in American Canyon, not far from the Bermuda Triangle. Bermuda Triangle adjacent. Location, location, location. What is it up there? I don't know. For whatever reason, the vibe, the weather, the retirement age, people reaching retirement age here, I don't know what it is. John is not of retirement age, unless he decides to. But for whatever reason, there's lots of great builders in Northern California. There's a plethora and other things that are polysyllabic of them up here. Tons of them, and really great ones. Well then, let's see here. We got a few folks online. Good. Now that I've blathered at length. There you go, Bruce Kaplan. That's the way to do it. Right. Hi, Colleen Wise-Owens. Hello there. Yeah, you had the Pfizer. I don't think I even had any stiffness. Whenever I've had flu shots, I've not had stiffness. Other times I have gotten a balloon or a lollipop or a Tootsie Roll, something, a sticker, something. Nothing this time. Nothing. Like I wasn't there. Nothing except immunity from a horrible disease. So I'll zip my lip. There we go. All right, well then, put this down for just a moment and show you a couple of the cool guitars that came in this week. This one, and I haven't really even played these yet. They just kind of came out of the cases. I looked at them, I checked the action, I checked to make sure the bodies were in good shape, and holy smokes. This one is a Goodall. Look at that. Carol Merrill. Show them what they won. Johnny, tell them what they've won. This is Macassar Ebony, back and sides. This is the ES. This is a Goodall, James Goodall and Company, built in Hawaii in the Hawaii years. This is an ES, an Ebony Standard. Now, this is what the Goodalls call a standard. It's a big-ass guitar. I would call this a BAG. I wouldn't call this an ES. I'd call it a BAG because it's big. Sitka top, and he still does have really great Sitka. People say, well, Sitka, that's so pedestrian. Nah, Sitka's great. Sitka is Sitka because it does that thing. It's really stiff. You can make it really thin. Becomes very resonant. Easier to tune, I understand. Perhaps the luthiers here can weigh in on that, about what they like about Sitka as opposed to Engelmann or Adirondack or any of the other spruces. Some people I know, people who know guitars inside and out, and his initials, I won't mention his name, but his initials are Frank Ford, says that spruce is spruce. And it's so highly variable, you'd never know exactly what you're going to get with spruce. True enough. But Sitka tends to be kind of the standard. That seems to be the where you start great spruce. And this is a Sitka top, and check out these sides and back. That is just gorgeous. And really, like I said, I haven't played a note on this guitar yet. I just checked it out in the sunlight to make sure, in particular, that there are no splits. Ebony tends to be a splitty kind of wood, especially on the sides, which are bent. There's zero splittage here. And this is a 2005, I think. I've forgotten my paperwork, so I've forgotten what we wrote down as to what the year is on this thing. I think it's a 2005. And it is just gorgeous, and I'm going to tune it up and give it a little play. Meanwhile, if you have any questions or comments, type them on in there. I'll see if I can get to them. Oh, this one's tuned low. And since we're close by, I'll give it a shot just for the heck of it. You don't have to tune your guitar to pitch, to standard pitch. It doesn't have to be E to E. You don't got to do that. In fact, if you've ever tried playing along with, what is it? You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, any number of Beatles songs, or newer versions of Here, There, and Everywhere from Paul McCartney. Those guitars are tuned down. And this is happening a lot amongst the young people. I just love their energy. The young people are tuning their guitars down. They're realizing you don't have to be at pitch. Suf John Stevens, who's been around for a long time, he's not one of the younger young people. See, this is the sound of Goodall's. Really rich, resonant, those overtones all stack up on each other really nicely. Hey, you know what? Tell me how the signal is today. We had some stutteriness last time. If the signal is stuttering, don't worry too much. You can always tune back in on this thing later, because what I typically do is after the presentation is over, I have it recorded on my phone and I send it back up to Facebook. And any stutteriness that happened, nickels to dimes, happened in the Wi-Fi-ness or in the connection to the internet, not between me and the phone. So there will be, if there isn't now, there will be a good recording of this available soon. Huge. Ebony is a hard wood, very reflective. And this is a nice stiff piece of beautiful silking in this. From here I can see that this is Sitka with the silkiness, the little cross grains that are going through there. Just lovely. You know, while I'm here, squint, just in case. Oh, I can hear, I wonder if you can hear that on the microphone here. I can hear that note as I tune it up approach the other one, go bang, 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 and stop. You know, the overtones fight each other for a while, and as they approach, they'll stop when you're just right. And if you're slightly off, which is okay, because trying to tune a guitar, it can't be done. Let's face it, you can't tune a guitar with standard fretting and standard scale lengths and all that stuff. You can get it mostly in tune, and you can tune for the key that you're in. But trying to tune the whole guitar absolutely precisely, it just don't happen. You got to maximize for the piece that you're playing. Where you're most vulnerable, where you're most exposed, you tune so that stays, those intervals stay close. Oof. Listen to that sustain. And again, I can hear the slightly out, oh, that's the point I was about to make. My point, and I do have one, as the saying goes, is that if the strings are slightly out of tune, as they will be, you'll hear the two D notes, for example, kind of find each other and swirled around each other and alternately reinforce and then block each other. You can hear those waves banging against each other and then lining up. It's wonderful. That's where the sustain comes from. This is open G tuning. Sitting plays for days, big sound, big guitar, wide waist. So it does sit kind of high on your lap. If you're a smallish person or not configured so that a dreadnought fits you, this might not be the perfect guitar for you, but my gosh, it makes a lot of sound. It's just lovely. Ebony is tricky. It can be harsh. This is not harsh. I don't know how Goodall does it. I've played thousands of Goodall guitars over the years, probably really and truly. Hundreds anyway, dozens. And I've never played one that wasn't at least really, really good. And most are excellent. This is excellent plus. Am I overdriving the mic? I say, am I overdriving the... Forgotten it. Wow. Let me catch up with your comments and questions. That is a Goodall ES. Ebony Standard. Standard for Goodall means big. It's a very large guitar. Sounds huge. It lives up to its size. Checking your comments and questions. Hey there, Michael Propson. Oh, we're swarming with great luthiers today. Michael Propson is another one, represented twice here in the shop. Take a look at the website, mightyfineguitars.com. I think I've got it almost all updated. I think everything's in there. I'm pretty sure. Check it out, but I think everything's in there, kids. And there's some fantastic stuff in. I had no Martins for the longest time. Oh, and then I had one Martin, a 49 0021. Now I've got, just in the past 2 weeks, 3 new Martins. In fact, maybe I'll bust that one out later on as well. But first I got to show you this Martin, the big Martin that came in this week. Hey, Bill Day. The sound is good. Mikey says the sound is crisp and clean. Very good. Glad to hear it. Very good. And you got your first Pfizer as well. Bluer skies every day. Ain't it the truth? Doesn't it feel good to know you're taking a step towards whatever? Is there, it seems unfortunate somehow that there can't be some sort of decoder glasses that you can buy so that you can see who's been fixed and who hasn't. I guess there are those little rubber armbands that you can get that say that I've been vaccinated. But, a sticker, a button, something, an insignia, maybe a red cap. Oh, no, not a red cap. Mark Baranki is watching. Mark Baranki is watching 3 times. Excellent. Mark, are you having trouble with your connection? Is that what that means? I'm always interested to know what the connection is happening here, There you go. Michael McNevin has posted what his when his shows are. Sundays at 11 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, PDT, Mikey. It's daylight now. God, you're welcome. 11 o'clock in the morning. Facebook Live for an hour, songs, bad jokes, bad limericks. And he's right about all of those things. Really great songs, and the jokes are an astonishment, one after another. Really, really something. Hey, good, Taya Gherkin, formerly of Acoustic Guitar Magazine. He was the gear editor for years, one of the editors over there. He and a couple of compadres of his have formed an outfit called Peghead Nation that is really fantastic. Lots of great instruction going on over there. All sorts of stringed instruments. Gear reviews, interviews, all kinds of stuff. If you're not a Peghead, run on over to Peghead Nation, and Taya Gherkin will meet you there and show you all around. He's got shows as well. Here's some info. He's got a show. He and Doug Young, who you may know from YouTube or the Dadgad book that he wrote. Taya's written books as well, one for Taylor Guitars. Very prolific gentlemen, both of them. They've got a series that they share called Guitars in the Round. This time around, holy smokes. This Saturday? Yeah. The next Guitars in the Round show. Taya, is that this Saturday that's happening? This one features Vicky Genfan and Ian Melrose. Oh, I'll be there. I'll see you there. And he's listed the link for that. So tune in. It looks like 5 of you have thumbs up or heartsed that. So very good. Let me press on to the next guitar that just walked in the door. Gal called me up and said, "You know what? My husband passed away a long time ago. He had a bunch of guitars. I'd like to sell some. I'm feeling karmic weight of having these guitars lying around and nobody playing them. That's why so many of these guitars are here. So I feel like a little yenta, working to be a little matchmaker for guitars and players." 1955, kids. D28. Martin D28, 1955. Wow, are those those are the original tuners and everything. Holy smokes. This is like a time machine guitar, folks. It's not unscathed, but it's very, very low mileage, lightly played. And lightly tuned as well. Perfect. That's where I come in. Wow. It's so Martin-y. It does that thing that I always talk about, where the upper mid-range does this kind of fuzzy blossom bloom thing. There's got to be better terms for it than that, but there's some kind of wonderful admixture of frequencies in the upper mid-range. Wonderful sustain. Wow. That's because, in no small part, because it's got this fabulous Brazilian rosewood. This is the good stuff from 1955. This is the part the player gets to look at. Lovely. Again, a Sitka top. No, wait a minute. Let me take a look at that. Yeah, Sitka. Righto. 1955. Oh. It really feels like a little time machine. It sounds like one too. One and 11/16 across the nut there, so I'm feeling like I'm squeezing a pencil here. But it takes a few minutes, just a moment or two, to get your hand adjusted from one to the other. Delightful, just a delightful guitar to play. Good heavens. 1955 Martin D28, classic, in great shape. The neck has not been reset, and it doesn't need to be reset. That's how low the mileage is on this one, kids. here at Ralph's Spoil Sport Motors in the city of Emphysema. There's, those are the two guitars I really wanted to show you, although there's one more. Hang on just a second while I vacate for the merest moment. Here's one that just came in. Haven't even opened the case. And this is one that was sold out. I say this is one that was sold out of this shop a few years ago. And I think it's perhaps not even tuned up because the fellow brought it in. Slack string, 1924, model 217, all mahogany. And what a sweetie, another little time machine guitar. In fantastic shape, everything original. And let me see, I think this one is going to take some serious tunage. There it is. Oh yeah, I won't inflict the tune. I'll show you this one next week. But these are the three for this week, folks. These are the two for this week. The 1955 Martin D28 and the 2005, I think. Anyway, the Hawaii years of Goodall, an ES, an Ebony Standard. And let me check and see what your questions and comments might be. This, I noticed after playing two giant guitars and then playing a size 2, which is a real... Do you know what? There's another size 2 in here, and I'll feature these next week. John DeLapp I've got a lovely little size 2 of his in here as well. I'll play them next to each other. You can hear the comparison, see the differences, see the similarities, both fabulous guitars. I'll play these two next week. But playing this after playing those, just holding on to this after holding on to those, this is the kind of guitar you can sit on the couch with and watch some Netflix for hours if you needed to. Let's say you were stuck indoors for a year and you got hooked into watching a bunch of series television, maybe the Blacklist, maybe Call the Midwife for 8 seasons of 10 episodes apiece. There's a couple of months right there, 2.5, 3 months right there. This would be the guitar you could sit and kind of noodle on while you're watching that, or sports, watching sports highlights from the days when there were sports on TV and crowds watching them. Just ideas. Well, let me look at your comments and questions, but I think I'm going to try and keep the shows shorter than I used to. Probably already too late for that. Hey, Jeffrey Curion. Wiley McKeegan, what a great name. Good heavens. Hi, Wiley. Ted Silverman, you spotted me out. A little hint of man's fate. Well done, sir. Yeah, sorry about the clipping. Thanks, Mikey. Hello, you old amphibian. You old tiktaalik yourself. There, Dan Payne. Doug Traxel, how are you, man? Good. Good. John Morell. Blooming is a good description of what those notes are doing. Hard to believe it's not being amplified. Being overdriven slightly when I was really hitting it hard. Sorry about that. Just a sensitive mic and a huge guitar. The cool thing about these guitars is you don't have to play them hard to get a lot of sound out of them. Smaller guitars, you kind of got to get them past a certain threshold before they really activate. But that's the charm of each style of guitar. And if you don't have one or the other, please consider a purchase at Mighty Fine Guitars. Now, these guitars I'm going to be photographing today, and I'll have the details up on the website within a few days. But in the meantime, do feel free to trundle on over to the website, mightyfineguitars.com. Can't go too far wrong with that. And take a look at the stuff that's at the top of the All list. If you hit the All button, if you just hit the Inventory button, it'll take you to the All page where everything that's available is there. Anything you see in the All list that's got an asterisk after it, that means I had them in, but I don't have one now. But you can still look at the pretty pictures. The stuff that's unasterisked is the stuff that's available here. But you can just take a look at the All page, and everything that I have will be listed in alphabetical order, including this 217 that I had in a few years ago. Still had the listing, just reactivated it. 2 snaps up for the internet. Well, there we go. All right. Well, thank you, all 16 of you, for tuning in today. Good heavens. I think this recording turned out to be okay. I'm not sure that reposting it is going to be required as it has been in previous weeks when the internet was a little bit stuttery. So I think with that in mind, today was 1955 Martin D28 and a 2005, I think, Goodall ES. And I'm your old pal, Stevie Coyle, signing off from Mighty Fine Guitars in Lafayette, California. Next week, I'll be featuring, perhaps among other guitars, and we'll see what else comes in. Good heavens. I'll be featuring 2 Model 2s, size 2s. I always call them Model 2s. They're not Model 2s. They're size 2. Anything below an O in Martin parlance, this is just for the geeks that are sticking around. Anything below an O is technically a parlor guitar. A lot of people call anything smaller than a dreadnought a parlor guitar. In Martin parlance, that's inaccurate. A parlor guitar is a size 1, a size 2, or a size 2.5. Anything below the size of an O guitar. Fun facts to know and tell. Courtesy of your old pal, Stevie Coyle, signing off from Mighty Fine Guitars in Lafayette, California. So long, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Don't know how to turn it off. Where's the button? There it is.